All right, in this lesson here, what we're going to do is talk about the body generator. Actually, this is one of a two-part lesson if you want to kind of look at it this way. The body generator is going to be covered in this lesson and just its basic parameters, etc. And then in the next lesson, what we'll do is we'll take the time to actually show you how to take the body generator and place it inside your character's mesh, get everything lined up, kind of a real quick overview of the entire workflow process. So let's go and get started. First of all, where do you find the body generator, and what is it? Well, as mentioned in the introduction, the body generator is basically a skeleton. It's predefined. You get a bunch of parameters where you can go in there and you can specify, how many segments or links in the leg, how many links in the arms, how many in the spine, how many fingers, etc. It's really nice, and it does save a lot of time, as opposed to you going in and creating your own skeleton. Now, after installing the HumanIK plugin, you'll find that on your main menu bar across the top that right past Help, you now have a HumanIK menu option. If we click on this, you'll find that we've got Create HumanIK and Create Body Generator. And if you remember in the intro, I did say that basically HumanIK is two different components, if you will, the HumanIK itself and the Body Generator. So we can go here, or in regards to Body Generator, we can also come over here to the command panel, Create, down to Geometry, and then up under the categorization drop-down, we can come down to Kadara, and up under there you will find BodyGen. So let's just simply click on BodyGen, and you're going to notice that we're going to get a parameter rollout down here called Body Generator Parameters, where we can specify a name. We can also create from initial. We'll talk about this in just a second. And we can specify ahead of time, before we actually create the skeleton, how many spines it's going to have, how many leg links, arm links, fingers, finger links, etc. So you can make those adjustments right now, then drag out your skeleton. Now, if you do that, that's all good, but if you forget to make adjustments or you find that later on you need to make adjustments, it's no problem at all. You can simply go back in, put into the modifier panel. We'll show you how you can go about doing this, and you can add them in. Okay? Now, let's simply drag one out. Click, drag, let go of the mouse. Is that just simple or what?
That's extremely simple.
Now take a look at what happened. I did get a skeleton in my viewport. I am no longer on the Create command panel. I am now on the Modifier tab. Look at this. I can still see spine links, leg links, arm links, etc., but they're all disabled. They're all grayed out. Why is that? Because at this point, if I want to make any adjustments, I need to go into a fitting mode to do that. So we'll get back to that in just a second. Now, let's go ahead and come in here, select this guy. Let's delete him out. Let's go ahead and come up here to HumanIK, come down here to Create Body Generator, and then let's go ahead and make a couple adjustments over here this time. So perhaps I want to go ahead and make this guy with 5 fingers, and each finger is going to have 3 links. And let's go with spine. Let's give the spine, say, 4 links, like such. And then I'll just simply come over here and, again, just click, drag them out, and let go. Give it a second to calculate everything, and here it comes. Trust me, it's coming. Any second now. There. It was coming. Yeah, Joel's sitting over here just a little worried at the moment. It was coming. It's right now. We've got a lot of things going on. This time around, we've got so many different fingers in there that ended up slowing things down just a bit. But it was all good. I didn't have to click nothing. It was just a matter of once you let go of that mouse button, it immediately starts processing the whole skeleton.
It just takes time.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Okay.
So now we've got this guy in place, and you can see that we do have all the fingers this time. So with keeping that in mind, let's take a look at one other thing now. I'm going to, again, delete this guy out. So select, delete him. Trust me, I'm going somewhere with this. Bear with me. Let's come back up here again. Come back down here to Create Body Generator. Look at this. All of this has been reset. 3, 2, 2, 1, and 1. There's no 5 fingers, no 3 finger links. So what is this create from initial, or any as far as what you can see there on the button? What this will do is generate a body generator based on the last one that you created. So this could be really handy if you're going to go in there and create a whole bunch of these different body generators that are all the same.
So you don't have to go in and reset all the options.
Exactly. So let's just go ahead and click on this and look at that. Was that not quick and easy?
Wow, that is nice.
So, yeah, we didn't have to go set everything back up. So I did want to go ahead and take a second and point that out. Now, let's go ahead and start talking about some of the various things that we can do once this guy has been created. At this point, you would really go in there and fit him inside your character's mesh. But we'll take a look at that in the next lesson. But let's go ahead and go full screen. talk about some of the other options that are available over here in the body parameters rollout, or body generator parameters rollout. First of all, this fitting mode. The moment I click it, we're going to get a little pop-up here that's saying, changing structure parameters may cause animation keys to be lost. Do you want to continue? Yes or no? The reason we got this pop-up right here is because over here in the user options group, auto warnings is turned on. If this was turned off, matter of fact, I just simply hit no, turn this off, and click again. This time I didn't get the pop-up. It's just letting you know that if you have keyframed anything on this guy, and then you go in here and you start to make adjustments, you may lose your animation. So are you sure you want to do that? It's just a friendly reminder. Turning auto warnings on or off, though, will keep that from popping up. Okay, now, at this point, if we wanted to, we could simply come in here and start making adjustments. But I always recommend, before you do that, don't forget to rename. Renaming is so important.
Renaming is extremely important.
So right now up here, this guy's name is BodyGenerator 01. If I come over here and click on the select objects, so select by name dialog, you'll notice as I scroll down through all of the various objects, they're all named BodyGenerator 01, and then there's a colon. And after the colon, it's head, the head end, hips, left arm, etc. You don't want to leave it named all that. You want it to be something that's going to represent your character.
Something descriptive.
Something descriptive, absolutely. So let's go ahead and close this out for a moment. And I'm going to come over here to name, and I'm going to type in Buzz. Why? Because Buzz is descriptive. It's me, right?
That sounds good.
So I'll hit Enter, and you'll notice up here now that the name has changed to Buzz for the selected object. But what about everybody else? Again, a select by name dialog, look at that, Buzz, all the way on down, okay? Do not make the mistake of you just created this object and you want to come up here changing the name right there, because that's not going to invoke the Mac script required to walk through and rename all of the different bones. Do it from this name right here. Okay? Now we can start moving on down, and perhaps we needed some more spine links. We've got 4 in there right now. Well, we decided we're not going to be bending around that much, and 3 will do the trick just fine. Or perhaps our legs. Maybe, actually, let's pick on our arms. Maybe we want to roll around our forearm up here. So on our arm links, let's go to 3, and how convenient's that. Perhaps even 4, which it's now going to go up here into the bicep area in case we wanted to simulate rotating from our shoulder. So here we go, 4. How nice is that?
Yeah, very nice.
So we can go through here. You can see with the arm or the legs, the same type thing. We can go in there and add all these additional links in. I'm just going to go ahead and back this back off to something relatively simple. Maybe even take my fingers and start bringing those down to something real simple. So there's one finger. We have a sharp pole sticking out. Let's take our finger links back down, and there you go. That's basically the default body generator that you get before making any adjustments at the beginning. Now, while we're in this fitting mode, we can go through here and start clicking on all of these things. They're called bones, in case you don't know.
Yeah, bones.
And 2 things are going to happen. We're going to lose these parameters over here. Why? Because we just selected another object. So we're going to see that object's parameters available over here. Number 2, we're going to get most of this information right here in a pop-up floater so that I can still access it, and this is because auto float is turned on. Okay, let's take a look. So I'll come over here and we'll select this bone right there. So let's select the bone. There we go, a little redraw issue. So with this bone selected over here, we're still in the modifier panel, but now we're looking at bone parameters, and there they are. So if I wanted to make an adjustment over here to my fins perhaps, no big deal. I can still gain access into the body generator parameters rollout, and I can still make adjustments if required. But the most important thing about this floater is the fact that I have this opposite button right there. That's good stuff.
Nice.
It's basically going to allow me to come in here and start making changes on, let's say, one side, and then easily mirror those changes over to the other side. So let's say, for example, if I come over here and I select this guy, and if I started adding side fins and started making adjustments, okay, I can do that. Or, for those of you that are familiar with the fact that you can come up here to character, come down to bone tools, you can work inside here as well. If I wanted to, I could come down here to fin adjustments and make all the same adjustments I was making over here. Basically, it's the exact same thing. So I can make these adjustments. I can even go as far as come up here and go into a bone edit mode if I wanted to. and then perhaps take and actually move this around, which is definitely handy.
Yeah, very
especially
handy.
when you're taking and setting up all your bones inside your geometry properly. So there's no problem with doing that, but the cool thing is being able to take and mirror all this stuff over to the other side. By the way, when you do go into a bone edit mode, please do not forget to come out of that mode. That can end up getting you into a little bit of trouble a little bit later on. So we can, be up in here, make adjustments, etc. And let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and give a front fin, and we're going to have a small issue in a second. And don't worry, I'm going to show you how to get around this. Right-click to zero that out, add a little bit of a bottom going on there. Select over here, side fins. I work inside this Bone Tools dialog a great deal, actually. It's just so convenient. So maybe a little bit like that. Let's go ahead and come back to this guy for a second because he's kind of side fin happy. It's like a big paddle. He's ready to row a boat or something. Let's go ahead and get some front fins going on.
Nice looking arms.
Yeah, got the beefy arm.
Yeah.
Put the little bottom end down there. Something like this. Just, quick example. Now, let me take a look at the problem. Let me show you the problem here. See the little opposite button down right there? What I want to do is I'm going to select all these at once by simply coming over here and double-clicking on the right shoulder bone. Look at that.
Where did the window go?
The window's gone. Okay, that's not good. Let's go ahead and close this dialog out, and let's show you how we can get around this. I'm going to come down here and select my helper. So now I've got my body generator parameters back. Now I have the ability, if I come over from this icon, which was what put us into fitting mode to begin with, the next one is show floater. And it's a little bit different than auto float. Auto float is going to give us that floater that's going to have these parameters in it right here every time I click on one of these bones. But when I start clicking on multiple objects and then over here in the modifier panel it doesn't know what parameters to show us because of the multi-object select, we lose that floater unless we click on show floater. Now, often it will come in here a little bit collapsed like such. Simple, just pull it out. So now let's come up here and we can select and see we're working, everything's good. Now I double click back up here on the right shoulder and look at that. It stays. So now I can come down here, simply hit opposite. How nice is that?
That's powerful.
And what's really cool though is I can come down here and grab this guy, go over into a rotate mode. Let me just go ahead and switch this over into local. And maybe I want to rotate him back a little bit, maybe a little bit more. Grab this guy, maybe he's not quite as straight, something like that. Now I'll just double click again, selected the entire thing, hit opposite, look at that.
That's too
straightened
cool.
up over there as well. And we'll be using this more in just a minute when I get into the next lesson and actually start setting the skeleton up inside of our geometry. So now let's go ahead and come back over here and select our helper. And let's go ahead and talk about the rest of these icons up here. This guy right here, Initialize IK, we'll be talking about that when we get into the HumanIK section. But what it will do is basically go in there, apply the HumanIK, set up the rig, and you're ready to start animating. It's that simple. But at that point, you're not going to be in here adjusting spine links, leg links, etc. anymore. At that point, it's animation time. Okay? So, and we'll be coming back to this. Moving on over from there, we get into this open and save. And these guys right here are definitely handy. What they'll allow you to do is basically save out a BodyGen posture file. Okay? And these posture files are, if I go through and I take the time to set my skeleton up where I've got fins and all sorts of unique sizes, if you will, just a bunch of different what's the word I'm looking for? I basically just spent a lot of effort setting this guy up. Then what I can do is I can save this out, and it's going to save all of my bone parameters, all of the links, everything, so that I can then come back in, open up another, or create a whole new body generator, and then quickly throw on that posture file, and boom, he'll be right back without me having to spend the time to go in there and readjust it all. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to go ahead and close that dialog out real quick, and we'll just come up here. Let's just reset this. So we'll be all the way back to normal. Come over here to HumanIK, and then let's go ahead and do Create Body Generator. Let's do a little bitty guy. So there's a little bitty guy down there, right? We'll go ahead and go full screen, maybe zoom down a little bit. And I'm just going to come over here and hit Open. And I've already got an example character that I've saved out. If you wanted to, basically you make your adjustments, you hit Save, and it's just going to save out whatever you save it as.
Right.
Then you grab this guy right here, and I'll just simply tell it to open, and whoa,
wow.
Definitely a change, right?
Definitely.
That's because this is how that particular character was laid out. Look at this. Look at all the fingers in here. Look at, all the fins going on. There's a bunch of information in here. So something good to know, without a doubt.
So it saved out all the properties.
That's right. And then it's just reapplied them to this new body generator, and so now he's set up exactly how that old one was set up when I saved out that posture file.
Very nice.
And then finally we have, of course, our info over on the side just to find out a little bit more about the developers and et cetera, et cetera. Okay? Moving on down, just one last thing to talk about, and that's synchronize with biped. And if you would like to, if you have Character Studio running on your system and you'd like to drag out a biped and you would like to have your body generator match the same number of links as your biped, all you need to do is simply click on synchronize with biped, select your biped, and they'll synchronize up. Okay? So with that, that's going to pretty much conclude this lesson, which is really just an introduction to the body generator. In the next lesson, we'll see how we can take it and put it inside some geometry and throw a skin modifier on it.
Sounds good.